All right, we are here with Pete Browngardt, who is the director of the new Looney Tunes movie, The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie. And we are excited to talk to him about this once in a lifetime. It seems it's been a long time since we've had a traditional Looney Tunes film. So, hello and welcome, Pete.
Hi, nice to meet you. Nice to be here.
So, one of the biggest takeaways with this film is how it's able to do so much with such a small cast of characters. That's one thing that I felt really stood out is that you have so much potential with the landscape of different Looney Tunes icons, but you kept it very small. So can you talk about your process of developing this, why you chose to focus on just Porky and Daffy and keep it a small cast?
Sure, yeah. That was a conscious decision early on when coming up with the film and sort of pitching the film to the studio. I feel like Looney Tunes characters work best when they're not all living together in a house and it's not an ensemble like the Muppets or something like
Mhm.
that. I feel like they were designed specifically to work in isolated shorts and comedic archetypes that work that way with a few characters. So and I was also inspired by some of the great buddy comedies of film, like Abbott and Costello Meets Frankenstein and Dumb and Dumber and the Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder films and stuff like that, where they were sort of smaller casts and they weren't large sort of ensemble cast stories. Um, and I felt like it would make the film a little bit more unique in its own right too. Like it's not what you expect, I think, when you what we've known to in the recent sort of modern era of Looney Tunes to come to expect with Looney Tunes. And I thought it'd be cool to tell a story with a smaller Looney Tunes cast of just Porky, Daffy, and Petunia.
Awesome. So with Petunia, that's kind of the one exception is you have Porky and Daffy and they're very established, they're very well known. And
Hmm.
then you have Petunia Pig,
Yeah,
who is kind of an unknown, kind
sure.
of forgotten about character. She's had a few appearances here and there, but you really made her come to life. So can you talk about your process of bringing her to the big screen?
Yeah. We knew we wanted Petunia in the film early on, and yeah, you're right. Petunia was sort of always kind of one note romance, Porky's girlfriend kind of thing, and we knew it was important to, utilize her as a character in a more robust way. And it was challenging. It was challenging because you had these established characters, and then you're like, well, I want to tweak this Looney Tunes character to make it more of a character and to help the story and the story we're telling. And how do we do that? How can her personality work with these other two personalities that we've established as the crazy loony duck and the sort of good average man Porky, sort of the yin and yang? And that's like, well, what how can we write her in a way where it doesn't feel like the same character, just another of the same character, or how can they contrast and play off each other? And we realized early on that making her the smartest loony in the room was important, and it really helped us progress the story. Um, and it kind of made her a little bit of a weirdo too, which I think helped give her some dimension and texture. But yeah, so that was the approach, and I think that triangle worked well. We still sort of had the bit of romance with Porky and Petunia in there, but we didn't want it to be um, the sole reason she's involved in the story.
So, one of my favorite characters was completely unexpected, and he leaves us way too soon, is Farmer Jim.
Yeah.
I think Farmer Jim is one of the new breakout character for Looney Tunes,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
want to
I
see
want to see
more of
that
them. I want to know. I
cosplay.
want a prequel all about them just growing up on the farm with Farmer
Right.
Jim.
Yeah.
From his animation is absolutely hilarious. And so talk about Farmer Jim and specifically why you chose to animate him the way that you did. Sometimes it's just his mouth, and then there are a few scenes where it's not just this cardboard cutout sliding
Hmm.
across the field, but it's more complete full animation. So why did you decide? Talk about behind the scenes, how you ended up doing that.
Sure. Originally, when we were writing the film, I just think I threw out. We knew we needed an emotional core to the film. We needed them to have some sort of parental figure to give a heart to the story of why the house was so important to Porky and Daffy and losing, and why they want to stand up for it and remember it. And you also want to find those things that are very relatable. There's a lot of reasons why we did Farmer Jim. Another reason is sort of this lampoon Disney a little bit of the father or the parent dying in a film. Um, Also, they're pig and duck. They grew up on farms. I mean,
Mhm.
there's a lot of things that got us to Farmer Jim. As far as the technique, one of the big sort of ideas behind that was there's an old short, classic Looney Tunes short called Old Glory, directed by Chuck Jones, and they do a technique called rotoscoping. It's an animation technique where you shoot a live action actor. They've been doing it since the beginnings of animation. Shoot a live action actor, and then frame by frame, you trace over the actor's performance, and you turn it into 2D art for animation. So I wanted to do it originally like that. I wanted to cast a actor, dress him up like a farmer, and shoot it and shoot the shots we want. And of course, that was way too costly for the budget we had for the film. So the next best thing was, I thought of like, I wanted to do sort of a clutch cargo, sort of moving painting style, and a sort of hybrid. And I wanted to find a balance, and I don't know if it's successful or not, but of humor and emotion, where it's still sort of, because it's Looney Tunes, it can't take itself too seriously. As soon as you start doing that, I think you're going off brand a little too much. So you always want to have sort of frameworks of humor within the emotion that you're creating. So that was another reason. So I wanted to undercut some of the emotion by the silliness of it being sort of a cutout, a painting, an animated painting in the film.
So mentioning the budget, you it's reported there's a $15 million budget for this,
Yeah,
which is
that's what they tell me. That's what they tell me, Megan or Morgan. I'm sorry. That's what they tell me. Yeah, I'm not. They don't give me that. They don't let me see the books, but that's what I've
well,
heard.
we'll take it for that, but that
Yeah.
is astounding because there's a lot of discourse in the animation movie community that, it can't be done. You have to do everything. Look at what all the European studios are doing, and then you see what Disney Pixar is putting out, and it's 175 to 200 million dollars every feature.
Hmm.
So, how are you able to create a film with such a tight budget and still have it look as phenomenal as it does, especially because it's traditionally animated? And I think maybe there's the perception that that's costlier, but maybe it's because we don't
Right.
see it that much.
Right. Yeah. That's a good question. I think there's a lot of wasteful spending in film production and film and entertainment in general. And I tried to cut back. I had a lot of experience making television. When television's a lot cheaper, a lot faster. So I was able to help with the help of my production manager and other producers on the film, able to put together a sort of production model of hiring a lot of ringers, people that can pull this stuff off really quickly and well, um, and also of laying the film out here and here layouts, meaning drawing all the key moments of the film and signing off on them and telling the animators that you can't change that. That's what it's supposed to look like. So there's less room for error. There's less rooms of characters going off model or not looking correct. It keeps a consistency to the film's look, and it's not something I invented. It's something that they were doing on the original shorts because they had no time to make those. They made those very, very fast. They did three or four. Each director did, I think, 4, 5, maybe 6 in a year, which is crazy when you think about a calendar year and how good they are, of the Looney Tunes shorts. Um, so yeah, there was that, and yeah, I think you know, it's a combination of a great team of artists that I was able to put together, and and uh, and we also designed the production, then the story, like an indie film. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like I thought of it as like I knew what the budget was, and I go, well, they people make horror movies for that much in live action, or genre movies, and I go, what's that version? And you sort of write the script with that in mind of how many locations, how much, how many characters. Like you said, it's a small cast. Well, that saves money right there. So it's all strategy. And I think it saved us in the long run, right? I think it saved the movie because they weren't afraid to write it off and because it wasn't cost that much. And I think it was easier to find distribution because of that as well. Somebody to take it on and put it out.
So one thing that you did is you were able to expertly blend this comedic slapstick style of film with the retro sci-fi horror film or sci-fi film in a
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
And one thing that I loved, I feel like every piece that was very um, uh, purposeful in why you chose it. And so, for example, you use live theremins for the score, which
Mm.
really gave it this authentic retro
How do
sci-fi
you know
vibe.
that? How do you know that we
I
use
did my
live theremin?
research. I did
Oh,
my research,
okay.
but
That was
and
something I specifically asked Joshua, our composer, to put in.
yeah, because once you hear it, you can't
Yeah.
unhear that. Wow,
Right.
this is the
Right.
sound of all
Yeah.
of these movies.
Yeah.
You can list them all off. But
Sure.
so why talk about the process of working with Joshua for the score and making that really immersive?
Right. Yeah. When you're doing Looney Tunes stuff, well, really all animation or all film, but the Looney Tunes especially, it's great animation quality, it's great vocal performance and performance of character and acting, and it's music. I mean, it's literally called Looney Tunes, right? Um, and Joshua worked with us on the shorts. And finding Joshua was amazing. He's an incredibly gifted composer, so versatile in what he can do musically and work within genre and style and tone. Um, and working with him was amazing. I basically we would take each part of the animatics. Uh, Got to realize he never had a finished film, like a finished color film to compose to or to compose music to. It was always either an animatic or rough animation where it's pencil test animation. So that makes it a little bit more challenging. And then we would adjust cuts, and sometimes I have to send him a new cut and tell him where things have changed so he can adjust his score. And it's a big back and forth. But as far as directing him, I just was very conscious of. Initially, we created some themes for the characters. I wanted a Porky and Daffy theme. I wanted a Petunia theme. We wanted a Farmer Jim theme. We wanted a sort of movie kind of sci-fi theme, and that's where we started with. And he had this little front end time to sort of work and sort of just play around with stuff, and we talked back and forth, and he usually nailed it. He's a big animation fan and film fan, and of course music fan, but and he's this great combo of an artist to that has all the elements right for making this type of movie where we're jumping not only to classic Carl Stalling Looney Tunes music, but we're going to big orchestral sort of sci-fi Hollywood score, and then we have an REM song, and then we have hip hop sort of joke at the end, and he's able to sort of blend it, and it was great. And also we had a great mixer for the recording called Frank Wolf, he's a sort of a legend in the business. He's done Toy Story and tons of Pixar and animated films prior. So it was great to have his ears on it as well to making it sound beautiful.
So with this, you were talking about, you're moving into production, you're excited. Obviously, you're very much a fan of Looney Tunes and have worked on the Looney Tunes cartoons. You're very intimately associated with these characters and have worked with them a long time. And then no distributor. Or so can you talk about kind of how you felt as a director, not having the uncertainty of not having a distributor, and then ultimately Ketchup Entertainment saves the day?
Yeah, definitely. So it's quite a journey. You have these highs and lows of making a film, and animation takes a very long time to produce and create. So we kind of watched the whole business change in front of our eyes as we were making it. I mean, we were saving entertainment during the COVID days, because animation you can sort of do anywhere and do it in a cave as long as you have some power and a computer, and a piece of paper. And then it turned into the reshuffling and everyone's broke. Uh, so and it was challenging at times. It was challenging to keep morale and the crew up. Everybody reads the trades, and we know what's going on a lot of times. And I tried to be aware of it, but I also tried to just motivate the crew, going, today we're still making the movie, and this is what we're concentrate on. This is what we're doing. We're going to do the best job we can, and we have no power. No, we can't affect what's going to happen with that stuff. But until they tell us to put our pencils down, we're not going to put our pencils down. And we pressed forward, and I think our it really the lower budget helped us, but also the quality of the film. I think they liked what they were seeing, and they knew it was a special film in a lot of ways. It's sort of a unicorn in the business, and as far as a 2D animated Looney Tunes movie that's original and all these different things we've talked about. Um, and I think it helped us. And then, yeah, and it was like we kept getting the door slammed in our face, several times. We got the permission to shop it outside the studio. No one was interested. Um, but and then GFM got on board to help us with some international distribution, and they were a big help as far as keeping just a little boost there. Like, okay, well, it's going to be out in Slovenia, so it's going to be out somewhere, which is great, and it's awesome, and I know Looney Tunes speaks to all the world, so it's great to know, and it's so famous. And then the Annecy screening really saved us. Like, Annecy's always been very good to me in my career. I won Best Television Production for my first sort of not well known series called Secret Mountain Fort Awesome for Cartoon Network. And I've screened some episodes of Uncle Grandpa there that were in competition, the stop motion. And then we did our shorts, and we had a big sort of well received our shorts at Annecy. And then I had a good feeling that the Annecy was going to like the film. I feel like it had all the other things, and the screening went great. We had a wonderful screening on a Tuesday night in Annecy, and thankfully Ketchup was there, and they caught up and caught us and caught our film and put it out, and it was really, really, really grateful. And they got it. They had confidence. They loved the film. They saw the audience reaction to the film, and they were impressed. And I think, and we got great reviews in the trades with Variety and some others. So it really helped us. It's funny how things can shift really quickly, and not just Hollywood, but anywhere
Yeah.
in any business. So
Yeah, I know. I heard about it around October when one of my friends had seen it and said, "You got to see this when you get a chance."
oh,
And so I
that's
was
nice.
so grateful that I did. When
Oh,
I
that's cool.
From the very first scene, when I see the scientist and the animation of him, and I
Yeah,
just could tell it was quality. I mean, I'd seen,
yeah,
obviously the trailers and whatnot, but I saw
yeah.
him specifically as like this human character, and I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be good." That very
Oh,
first
cool.
opening
That's
scene is
awesome. Yeah,
is
we did
awesome.
that on
So I was
purpose.
impressed.
That was definitely purposefully done. We wanted to sort of the theater darkens, and the movie comes on, and it's cool not to see Daffy Duck right away.
Mhm.
Like, I felt like it makes you takes you like, okay, yeah, this is something different. And we obviously, you always when you're designing any presentation, you always want your best stuff in the front as far as quality. So we put some really good artists on that stuff to make it shine. Yeah.
So, last question. What do you hope that fans, both young and old, take away from this movie? Like what are you hoping that people take away from The Day the Earth Blew Up?
I think I just hope people laugh. I really do. I mean, the one thing I love the most of going to cinema and watching any form of entertainment is laughter. Um, it's a special, making someone laugh is a special thing, and Looney Tunes does it so well. And just to be associated with Looney Tunes and hoping to make people laugh with something I create with Looney Tunes is what I wish most, that they walk out of the theater and they had a good time, and they yeah, had some good laughs. That's really it. I think that's such a special thing with cinema and theater entertainment.
Well, you'll definitely be laughing with this one. I feel like from start to finish, and stay tuned to the end credits because there is a classic Looney Tunes, ending
Yeah,
right there.
yeah,
But
yeah. Watch.
it,
There's definitely an after credits moment for
yeah.
sure.
Well, thank you so much. I'm excited for this one. I hope lots and lots of people see it, support traditional animation and especially Looney Tunes, and best of luck with the release.
Oh, thanks, Morgan. Appreciate it.